Queen Elizabeth says she wants Camilla, the Duchess of Cornwall, to be known as Queen Consort when Prince Charles becomes king.
The British royal family has been through wars, scandals, abdications, and betrayals, but nothing could have prepared the palace for this. A bomb detonated outside palace gates as part of an apparently simple gesture to commemorate a devoted family member. And in the heart of it all, Camilla is enraged, humiliated, and seeking vengeance. It began with a title, not for a prince or duke, but for a youngster born without royal lineage. Arthur Matthews is the eldest son of Pippa Middleton, Kate's cherished younger sister. A young child who has grown up primarily outside of the spotlight, away from the tumult that frequently surrounds the crown. Nonetheless, in a move that surprised insiders and enraged Camilla, little Arthur was recently awarded a ceremonial title, one sanctioned by none other than Prince William himself. What's the twist? Camilla's grandson, Freddy Parker Bowles, was neglected completely. No title, no recognition. There is no future inside the royal structure. To Camilla, this was more than a snub. It was an act of war. Camilla allegedly raged when she found the choice had been taken without her knowledge. In her opinion, this wasn't about a child. It was about legacy. She had struggled for decades to bring her family into the royal fold, to be recognized not as the other woman, but as the queen. And now, her grandson was officially snubbed in favor of the nephew of Kate Middleton, whom she had long regarded as her most serious danger. Camilla reportedly addressed Charles in private, seeking explanations. But the king, ever a pragmatic, remained mute, and the quiet spoke it all. Because this was more than simply biased. It was about the future, about who actually has power in the monarchy nowadays. The solution is becoming apparent by the day. Kate and William aren't just a picture-perfect pair beaming from their balcony. They are shrewd, calculating, and discreetly rebuilding the monarchy in Diana's image. Loyal, disciplined, protecting the crown's emotional heritage. And Camilla, she's being pushed to the edge again. This is the story of a regal title that signified far more than it appeared. A tale of familial devotion, whispered vengeance, and a queen consort who discovered too late that her position in the firm was never truly safe, because the bloodline has already taken a stance on the crown's future. And this time, history will remember Middleton, not Parker Bowles. It was meant to be a modest honor. There will be no hoopla or public ceremony, only a quiet reference to loyalty, ancestry, and a long-awaited future. But within hours of the news, the walls of Clarence House shook, not with acclaim, but with the rage of one lady who felt completely deceived. Arthur Matthews, the eldest son of Pippa Middleton and hedge fund heir James Matthews, was given a small but significant ceremonial title, Lord Arthur of Wescombe, a title seldom bestowed on children outside the line of succession. It was not a dukedom or a whole peerage, but in the monarchy's hidden language, it was a message. Camilla heard it loud and clear. According to royal sources, Prince William signed off on the title without consulting Queen Camilla or King Charles, as is customary. The decision has apparently been in the works for more than a year, with rumors circulating among William's closest advisors and the Middleton family. But the final permission arrived quickly, sealed and given by the heir to the throne. Camilla found out about it from the press rather than the palace as soon as the ink dried. One colleague described her reaction as pure disbelief, then rage. This wasn't just a surprise, the insider explained. It was a deliberate move, and Camilla knew it. Camilla was more concerned about who did not obtain a title than with Arthur receiving one. Her grandson, Freddy Parker Bowles, the son of Tom Parker Bowles, had been silently waiting in the wings for many years. Though not officially royal, Freddy's link to the Queen Consort made him a viable contender for the same type of honorary recognition Arthur had received. Yet, nothing, not even a murmured mention. There are no emblems, patronage, or invitations to royal occasions other than family holidays. Camilla interpreted this as exclusion rather than carelessness. The exclusion was calculated and harsh. Camilla's assistant allegedly recalled the moment she received the press release as her face went pale. She did not blink for long seconds. Then she tossed the paper down and said, "They've crowned the wrong child." Within 24 hours, the story had gone viral in tabloids throughout the UK. Royal media, who had hitherto avoided discussing inter-family issues, couldn't ignore the drama that was suddenly emanating from within royal walls. Headlines like, "Title given to Kate's nephew, while Camilla's grandson gets snubbed," lit up newsstands. Public forums erupted with discussions. Was this motivated by favoritism, a royal insult, or something much more strategic? The anxiety behind closed doors was awful. Camilla allegedly contacted King Charles immediately, outraged that he had not stopped the action. But Charles, ever cautious and clearly aged from previous illnesses and obligations, offered no protest. Camilla perceived his silence as cowardice. Meanwhile, William stood steadfast. According to sources at Kensington Palace, William informed aides, "This isn't about blood. It's all about commitment, prudence, and trust." Arthur was reared in dignity. He understands what the crown represents. That matters. To the outside world, it may have appeared to be a minor gesture, a ceremonial acknowledgement to a kid born into luxury. But for those within the palace, it was a proclamation. Kate's family was rising, quietly, respectfully, and undeniably. And the Middletons, previously derided by aristocracy as commoners, were now achieving what Camilla had battled for decades: legitimacy within the throne. Camilla's understanding didn't only ache, it broke her. Because under a monarchy preoccupied with symbolism, no gesture is insignificant. Every action, title, and award reveals a deeper reality. This one was unmistakable. Arthur participated in the battle for royal closeness and future legacy. And Freddy was gone. Camilla had lost this round, and the fight had only just started. For all of her perfectly crafted public appearances, Queen Camilla has long maintained a secret edge, honed via decades of criticism, exile, and calculating survival. But nothing in her regal voyage prepared her for the disappointment of seeing her own grandchild disregarded in favor of Kate's nephew. This time, she didn't grin. Camilla allegedly isolated herself in her private sitting room at Clarence House on the morning the title was announced. Staff members were swiftly terminated. Only her closest advisor remained behind closed doors, where, according to one reliable source, she absolutely unraveled. This wasn't just about a youngster getting a ceremonial nod. It was about what it represented. Camilla spent years believing she had ensured her family's future. She had progressed from mistress to queen, surviving the fury of the press, winning over the establishment, and even bringing her son and grandchildren into close proximity to the throne. Or so she thought. The revelation hit her hard. Despite the crown, titles, and official pictures, she and her lineage remained on the outside. "She screamed," claimed an insider who heard the scene in the corridor. "Something about betrayal." She continued, adding, "He promised me more. He promised me more than this." Obviously, the he in issue was King Charles. Camilla confronted him quickly, according to royal household sources. Later that evening, the two met in Charles's study, which is generally a quiet space where he reads, writes, and reflects. That night, it became a battlefield. Camilla was pacing, red-faced, holding the press release in one hand and her phone in the other, a senior household member reported. She accused Charles of abandoning her family, of bowing to William's influence, of treating her grandchildren as disposable. Camilla and her husband have argued before over royal issues, but this time seemed different. The emotion was not simply fury, but anguish. A sadness stemming from the realization that her legacy was disappearing, and that the kingdom she had battled so hard to enter was now sliding away from her grasp once more, this time via future generations. Charles, weakened by recent health issues and under increasing pressure to maintain a unified front, allegedly said little. Some insiders said he attempted to explain that ceremonial titles mean very little politically, and that William was only thanking the Middletons for their discretion over the years. But Camilla didn't buy it. "Don't lie to me," she allegedly yelled. "It's about her. This is always about her." And when she said her, everyone knew she meant Kate Middleton. Camilla's rage did not end with Charles. According to one palace source, she requested a reversal, or at least an equivalent title for Freddy. However, it was already too late. William had sealed it, and Charles would not challenge him. Camilla's mood deteriorated during the next few days. At public engagements, she smiled, waved, and acted like queen. However, beyond the royal walls, the staff reported a lady who was becoming increasingly suspicious, paranoid, and reclusive. This was more than simply a tantrum. It was a chink in her armor. A queen consort who, after everything she had gone through to ascend to the throne, was now facing the harsh reality. Her authority was limited, and they were being drawn by the same pair she thought she could control. Camilla raged within palace gates, while Kate Middleton stayed mute. There was no single phrase or glance to spark the headlines, but according to insiders, there was something considerably more potent in the silence: strategy. The ceremonial title bestowed to Arthur Matthews, Kate's nephew, did not appear out of nowhere. It took months to plan, according to one senior courtier, and was entirely orchestrated by the Prince and Princess of Wales. Behind the smiles and formal meals, William and Kate have gradually emerged as the monarchy's power axis. With Charles' health deteriorating and Camilla's power becoming increasingly unstable, the royal family has begun to transition, not officially but undeniably, to its next chapter. Kate is helping to write a chapter. Arthur's title was no coincidence. According to sources close to Kensington Palace, Kate made the offer to William during a secret family retreat in Norfolk. She had indicated a wish to honor Pippa and the Middleton family for their steadfast commitment, particularly during the tumultuous years following Queen Elizabeth's death. "The Middletons have never embarrassed the firm," one source stated. "No tell-all interviews, no scandals, and no leaked memoirs. That type of commitment is crucial in today's royal world." But Kate's motivations went deeper than appreciation. For years, Camilla had argued that her own family, notably her son Tom Parker Bowles and his children, ought to be elevated within the royal circle. She campaigned for visibility, inclusion, and prestige. And gradually, Charles gave in. A seat at some royal feasts here, and an invitation to trooping the color there. Camilla perceived little symbolic gestures as the start of something lasting. But Kate saw things differently. She did not regard the monarchy as a charitable institution. It was a heritage that had already been harmed by outsiders who used their proximity for selfish benefit. Meghan Markle, Prince Andrew, even Camilla herself. Kate realized the consequences of misplaced trust. When it came to her family, she was certain they would never betray the crown. So, when the opportunity arrived to offer a ceremonial title for little Arthur, via a discreet back channel through the Duchy of Cornwall, Kate seized it. William, protective of his wife and sincerely respectful of her judgment, gave the final approval. "He didn't even include Charles until it was finished," stated a royal official. "He didn't need to." The maneuver caught everyone off guard. Camilla, as well as the rest of the aristocracy, had no idea the Middletons would be honored in this way. But William and Kate weren't playing by the old rules. They were revising them meticulously, discreetly, and mercilessly. And what about Freddie Parker Bowles? According to sources close to William, he never came up in discussion. "There was no snub," explained one assistant. "He was just not considered. Titles are not participation prizes. They're won via loyalty and trust." Kate maintained her composure in public. She attended engagements with dignity, sat with her children for spring photos, and never reacted to the whirling turmoil. But for those looking attentively, the message was plain. Kate doesn't yell, she acts. And in that calm, careful manner, she has become one of the most powerful characters in royal history, the genuine architect of the crown's destiny. Camilla may have raged. What about Kate? She calmly moved the board, positioned her piece, and said nothing. Because queens do not yell, they checkmate. For the most of his life, King Charles has been torn between duty and desire, legacy and love. However, the gap has rarely been so obvious, bitter, and public. With the aftermath from Arthur Matthews' new title still raging, Charles found himself imprisoned between the two most powerful women in his life, his wife Camilla and his heir, William. And this time, there was no graceful exit. According to palace sources, Charles was taken off guard by Camilla's emotional response, as well as William's decision to offer Arthur a ceremonial title. While Charles had previously granted modest Middleton honors, this went beyond that. Public symbols, royal affiliation, and perhaps most controversially, status. Camilla anticipated Freddy, her grandson, to be the next in line for any honorary recognition. After all, she had supported Charles through decades of scandal, withstood the fury of a mourning people, and helped rehabilitate the monarchy's public image. In her opinion, devotion had a price, royal admission for her clan. But Charles did not oppose William's move. He could not. Behind palace doors, power dynamics have evolved. William is more than simply the heir apparent. He is the public's favorite, a contemporary statesman with worldwide support. And Kate, with her unwavering elegance and Diana-like grace, has emerged as the genuine face of the monarchy's future. Opposing them now would be a PR nightmare, especially given Charles's ongoing health rumors and sliding popularity rating. So he chose quiet, again. Camilla confronted him that night, a senior courtier admitted. She slapped the papers on his desk and shouted, "I thought we were a team." Charles simply stood there. He did not even open the file. He knew exactly what it stated. What he didn't say, what he couldn't say, was that he feared that opposing William's decision would further destroy the family. The monarchy cannot withstand another heir war, not after Harry, not after Meghan. Charles understands this. Camilla, who is emotionally traumatized and politically marginalized, does not. But that did not deter her from attempting. Camilla allegedly pressed Charles to award Freddy a counter title, something to balance the scales and demonstrate that her family was not being wiped. However, Charles's counselors urged against it. It would look reactive, petty, one said. And worse, it would look like he was taking sides. Because in many ways he already did. By doing nothing, refusing to oppose or even delay William's choice, Charles essentially cast his lot with the future. He picked the crown, not the consort. Camilla knew it. One assistant described Charles's manner at the time as haunted. Torn between his love for the lady who stayed by him when the world turned its back, and the son he needed to ensure the throne's future. The king walked a tightrope with no safety net. In public, he maintained his composure, regal, steady. But behind the scenes, Charles was witnessing his home disintegrate, again, because every monarch must finally decide whether to cling to the past or make room for the future. And Charles's choice, no matter how gently made, echoed throughout the castle. Even decades after her sad death, Princess Diana's shadow still looms over Buckingham Palace, molding decisions, haunting consciences, and affecting the future in ways even her sharpest enemies never anticipated. Insiders think she had a significant impact on Arthur Matthews' triumph, because this was more than simply a gesture from William to his in-laws. It was a message. When Diana's marriage to Charles collapsed in the early 1990s, the then Princess of Wales made it plain that her children came first, and their future should not be tainted by royal politics, scandals, or manipulating outsiders. In private discussions and now famous interviews, she frequently expressed her desire for William and Harry to be nurtured as normally as possible, surrounded by love, devotion, and truth, rather than the cold machinery of the firm. According to royal biographer notes and numerous former staff members, Diana was extremely cautious of anybody who attempted to acquire access to the royal family for personal benefit. In her own words, she described them as climbers in pearls. In one especially scary story from the 1990s, Diana is reported to have cautioned a friend, "They will never stop attempting to position their children alongside mine. But William must realize that blood alone does not make you family. Loyalty works." It is a sentiment William will never forget. Arthur Matthews may not have a royal surname, but he embodies something the monarchy has grown to respect more than ever: discretion. While others associated with the crown have published books, appeared on talk programs, or sold private tales, the Middletons have kept steadfastly mute, even as they became the most public in-laws in contemporary royal history. They've supported Kate through controversy, sickness, and harsh public scrutiny. They've never exploited their connection to the throne for personal gain. And to William, who saw his own family's turbulence nearly ruin his youth, devotion is invaluable. William was not just praising Arthur's excellent behavior by bestowing a ceremonial title upon him. He was confirming his mother's goal of a crown based on principle rather than privilege. One founded on trust rather than titles. Above all, one that silently but forcefully rejects the powers that have harmed her the most. Which leads us back to Camilla. To many inside the palace, her wrath over Freddy's exclusion is more than simply personal disappointment. It demonstrates that she never comprehended the larger current that runs through the monarchy today. While she fought her way to the crown via shrewd relationships and discreet pressure, William and Kate are constructing something new, something cleaner, something Diana would have recognized right away. The public is aware of this as well. After the title announcement, online forums were swamped with comments, many of which praised William's loyalty to Diana's values and Kate's graceful example of family unity. The Middletons, long derided as middle-class outsiders, are now hailed as foundations of the royal future: calm, private, principled. Camilla, on the other hand, is once again placed in the same role, the outsider attempting to force her way in. And Diana? Even though she is no longer alive, her voice may still be heard in the decisions her son makes. Through the principles Kate upholds, she never met the royal children, yet she still protects them. The monarchy has changed, but it has not been forgotten. Camilla may wear the crown. She may stand by the king. However, when it comes to the monarchy's future, she no longer holds the pen. Arthur Matthews' ceremonial title was more than a mere royal footnote. It marked a turning point. A crystal-clear indication that the power dynamics inside Buckingham Palace have moved, not with noise, but with calm confidence. The crown's actual path is no longer determined by seniority or survival. It is led by heritage, loyalty, and a name that carries power even in silence: Diana. When Freddie Parker Bowles was overlooked, the message was brutally clear. Trophies are won, not owed. And despite Camilla's scheming and years of struggling for acceptance, she has risen to the highest level without entirely establishing her place in the royal trust. Diana's son's vision did not include her family, goals, or expectations. Meanwhile, Kate has established herself not just as the future queen consort, but also as a royal architect, transforming the House of Windsor with elegance and meticulous quiet. William may be the prince, but Kate has redefined what it means to defend the crown while respecting the past. And thanks to her, the Middletons have become part of royal history, not by force, but by faith. Camilla's rage will wane, but the harm has been done. The fissures are showing. Behind every grin and photo op, behind every expertly choreographed balcony wave, is a fact that the public has learned to accept. The crown may rest on many heads, but it belongs only to those selected by blood, duty, and honor. Arthur Matthews may be young. However, acquiring that title elevated him above the level of a privileged youngster. He became a symbol of the monarchy's most important virtues in the future. And Camilla, she became a reminder of everything it has decided to leave behind. The royal bloodlines have spoken. And it didn't whisper, it shouted. Please let me know if you need the YouTube description, title optimization, thumbnail ideas, or anything else to complete this video package.